like to welcome y'all here tonight. We're just a couple of minutes away from starting the meeting, and before we begin, I'd like to invite you to stand and join me in the pledge, and then Amelia Williams will bring the invocation. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Heavenly Father, thank you for this beautiful day. As we, your sons and daughters, gather here tonight, please shower us with wisdom for the interest of the people whom you so graciously bestowed upon our beautiful city. In your name we pray.
Amen. Amen. All right. We've got the large print. They're right there. Mike Shamley's holding them up. If that would, we do have large print copies of the agenda available, if anyone in the room would like to have one. I will call this meeting to order. This is the regular meeting of the Springdale City Council, Tuesday, March 26, 2019. And I'll start things off by asking our city clerk to call the roll.
Mayor Sprouse. Here. Amelia Williams.
Here.
Jeff Watson.
Here.
Mike Overton.
Here.
Colby Fulfer.
Here.
Mike Lawson. Rick Evans.
Here.
Brian Powell.
Here.
Kathy Jaycox. Ernest Cape.
Here.
Before we get to comments from our citizens, in case anyone here is here for item 8, an appeal of the Planning Commission decision, that has been tabled at the request of the, he's asking it to be tabled, and we would need to take action to table that.
So moved. Second.
Okay, we have a motion and a second. Yeah, until the next meeting. That's your motion?
Yes.
All right. Okay, Denise?
Evans. Powell.
Yes.
Williams.
Yes.
Watson.
Yes.
Overton.
Yes.
Fulfer.
Yes.
All right, thank you. Kathy, welcome. I wanted to go ahead and let you know that item 8 has been, we just voted to table that until the next council meeting, okay? All right, this is the portion of the meeting that the council sets aside each meeting to allow citizens to make comments to the council concerning items that are not on tonight's agenda. We ask that you come to the microphone, clearly state your name and address, and please keep your comments brief. Is there anyone that would like to address the council concerning an item that is not already on tonight's agenda? Okay, seeing none, we'll move on to item 5, the approval of minutes. Council, do we have a motion to approve the minutes as presented?
Second.
Did we get a second?
Yeah, we got a motion.
Oh, I'm sorry. Motion and a second. All right, all those in favor say aye.
Aye.
All opposed, same sign. Procedural motions, item 6. What's your pleasure, council?
Second.
Got a motion and a second for options A and B. Roll call, please.
Powell.
Yes.
Jaycox.
Yes.
Williams.
Yes.
Watson.
Yes.
Overton.
Yes.
Fulfer.
Yes.
Evans.
Carry 7-0.
All right, thank you. I will turn item 7 over to our city attorney. Ernest?
Thank you. This is a resolution setting a hearing date on a petition to abandon a portion of a drainage easement in the city of Springdale, Washington County, Arkansas. This is the Aldi's edition that's going on at 2209 South Thompson. On page 12 shows the area proposed to be vacated. It's just a little portion of the drainage easement that exists. The statute requires that the council conduct a public hearing before considering the ordinance, and this would set the public hearing for April 23rd, 2019.
Resolution passed.
Okay, we have a motion and a second to approve the resolution. Any other comments or questions? Anyone in the audience on this item? All right, Denise?
Jaycox.
Yes.
Williams.
Yes.
Watson.
Yes.
Overton.
Yes.
Fulfer.
Yes.
Evans. Powell.
Yes.
Item 9 is an appeal of the Planning Commission decision to deny a variance for a sign variance request by Lee Guston, Command Pest Control, located at 1607 North Thompson. Is Lee here? Would you like to come up and kind of get this started?
Hi, I'm Lee with Command. First of all, I'd like to state we are a division of Fairway Lawns. We've been doing business since 1990. and we're not going to go anywhere. We love Springdale. So second of all, we've got a current sign that's up now that's 10 by 15, which is the ordinance, I believe, states 150. What we're wanting to put is an additional reader board, video board on the below that, and I believe that's 4.4 times 8 is what that is.
4 by 8?
4 by 8, yes,
Okay.
sir. And
Okay.
we've also got a bid for the 3 by 8, but we'll go for the 4 by 8.
Okay. All right, I was here for some of the discussion, but I'd like for, I don't know, Mike, do you want to address or Patsy? I don't know, maybe Patsy would be better. I don't care which one. You're both excellent. If you would like to come up and just give us a little of the discussion the commission had and some of the concerns they had.
I will let Ms. Patsy kind of talk about the commission portion. As far as the signage goes, of course, if y'all remember, we did reduce our freestanding sign size allowances to 150 square foot some time ago, which in turn meant that this existing sign, when they replaced the faces in it, was their total allowable amount they could have. Anything above and beyond that, in addition, like this 32 square foot LED, would require a variance, and that's what he applied for through the planning commission, and of course,
Okay.
here we are now.
And they were
And
denied. Yeah.
This sign is going on the existing
Existing
pole,
pole,
is that
yes, sir.
correct? And the
There was a
existing
sign there.
location's been there, that's the old Acme brick place,
It
it's been
is.
there since
Quite some time.
in the 70s.
Yes, sir.
Lee, the video portion of your sign, or if this appeal is successful, what kind of, is it going to be, like, information that changes from time to time, or,
Yeah.
I mean?
Yes, sir.
You've already got the sign you have now, your regular sign tells about your business. and,
Yes,
you
it
know,
just says command pest control with a
Okay.
phone number.
Okay,
Yeah.
all right. I don't know, I'll open it up to the council. Questions? What was the vote at planning commission? 6-2? Okay.
Sir, can I ask a question that I don't think I clearly heard at the night of Planning Commission?
Yes, ma'am.
I knew you were asked, because it was an old sign that you had replaced. At that point, why did you not put a digital sign somewhere on the existing sign to meet the criteria for the signage that you're allowed?
That is a good question, Kathy. It came, go ahead. It kind of came after the fact. The existing sign was already there. We used the same
I
pole.
understand.
The Acme, you know.
I understand.
So we replaced that. It was cheaper to use the same pole.
I'm not
And-
fussing about,
Sure.
well, I'm not fussing about anything.
Yes.
I'm asking, if when you had, and I presume you're from Fast Signs, I recognize
Yes.
the shirt.
Mike Johnson, yeah, I was previously with Fast Signs. and
Okay,
I was
my
working with
question
them.
though remains, since the sign had to be replaced, it was as large as was allowed, if this gentleman, and by the way, I'm a customer of yours,
I know you are.
if this gentleman wanted a new sign, and I presume one of you knew the largest sign you could have, and you wanted a digital sign, why was it not installed at that time as part of the larger sign?
We
So
were
you
trying-
don't need a second sign?
Yeah, we were trying to use the existing sign that they had, and the way this was made, we just redid it, and the way the sign is made, it's a stretched vinyl. So we couldn't have added a board in there. We would have had to really take the whole thing down and just make a smaller sign instead of using the old Acme sign that existed there.
And were you aware of the sign restrictions when you discussed the digital or the replacement of the
When we had the sign.
stretching
No,
the
no,
new
Kathy.
canvas or whatever it's
No,
called?
to be
under?
honest, Kathy, when we put the sign up, the digital had come up. We didn't even discuss it prior. Then I found out that there was an ordinance. I think that answers the question you were asking originally,
Sort of,
sort of.
sort of.
Okay.
Because if we grant this variance, we worked really hard on signage, so that if we give an exception to you, it won't be long before somebody up the street will want one, and somebody farther up, and then it grows into what we tried to stop before.
I understand.
Yeah, that's why we were wanting to add it to the bottom, the existing part of the
But you'll
pole.
still have a larger sign than allowed for one business.
But thank goodness for variances.
I don't, I understand,
There is a
Colby.
process,
But you
that's
had to
right.
be there for the conversations to try and make sure that the businesses had as much as they could possibly get.
To be honest with you, at the time, I know when I did it, there's a huge billboard at the top that's digital, but we didn't even think about it. It's so massive that you see it sitting at the top of the hill. We didn't even think about the square footage as far as that. The reader board essentially is about the size of what most churches put up underneath theirs, so we didn't think, at that time it would really be an issue.
I've looked at the renderings of the sign y'all are wanting to put up, and I thought it looked good. I think they're within their, correct me if I'm wrong, and maybe this is a question for Mike, they technically have the square footage to make that whole thing digital, don't they?
Sure.
Right.
Yeah.
Okay, well, if they do that, you'll see it from Carthage, Missouri. And I think we'd be a lot better to have a smaller sign underneath at a lower level that wouldn't light things up so much. I think with letter of the law and intent of the law, I think with the intent of the law, this would actually be better for the city to have it look like this than the alternative, which could also be a possibility.
Sorry, Colby, could you explain that to me?
Yeah.
I kind of lost you.
The square footage of the current sign,
Yes,
they
sir.
could make that digital. And that would light up all of 71 business. You'd see that for miles away. And I think we're better off having a very much smaller square footage of area that's actually digital that can light up and keep what they have is existing. It would be less obtrusive to do it this way than if they decided to make the entire thing digital.
I'd like to make a motion to override the planning commission's denial of this variance.
Second.
Okay, we have a motion, a second, to overturn the,
I had a question.
yes. Yeah, we'll get more questions. Go ahead, Jim.
Mike? I didn't understand what you said, that we had reduced our sign ordinance some time ago?
Yes, sir.
Our size in the sign
Yes, sir.
ordinance? When was that? I can't remember.
My
Well,
memory's
how,
failed me too.
10 or less years? I can't,
Within the last 10 years,
within the last 10 years?
Yes, sir.
And we went from what to what, do you remember?
400 to 150.
And can you help me out with the discussion there on what we were
You
thinking?
didn't like big signs? I'm sorry, I'm not really trying to be facetious. I think that was the concern was all the site pollution, the signage you saw up and down the main corridors, and the sizes was basically a billboard. Most billboards traditionally between 400 and 600 square foot. And so very few businesses had signs of that size, but it still allowed for a very large freestanding type sign.
Right.
They also were allowed to be 60 foot tall. Now they're only allowed to be 30 foot tall when y'all changed the ordinance.
Okay,
So we reduced
we
it both
lowered
in
it.
height and size.
And then,
And 150 has generally been
is there
acceptable
any
to most
language
people.
in that ordinance about variances, about what kind of standard or what kind of consideration we
No, sir.
give to
Not
how
that
we
I'm aware of.
decide whether a variance is,
I can tell you what the ordinance says about variances.
okay,
For signs, it just says, variance can be granted for, variances may be granted for historic, aesthetic, or other reasonable cause, which cause shall be stated upon the record.
which what?
Which cause shall be stated upon the record?
So like if we were to grant a variance, we have to state why?
No,
Says which cause shall be stated on the record.
we,
Well, that's kind of what that says.
Says, Mike, you were there when the ordinance was
I
written.
know, we wrote it, and that was not our intent.
Mind
We had
you-
all these arguments about hand-painted signs and what a
I was there with you.
sign.
Well, I guess the problem
And
I'm having
monument
is the
signs.
variance part though, on why we do a variance, why would we do a variance? Variance to me is like there's some unusual circumstance.
Well, when you look at a business, it's that business site that's been there since the 70s with that particular signage, which exceeds the 150 square feet that are allowed now. I think
What'd
No,
you just
they
say?
have-
it's an 8 by 10 that's there now. I'm sorry, no, that's not correct.
5 by 10.
It does not exceed, yeah.
No, it is,
It's
is
150. is
the largest
square
sign we
footage, so
allow.
it does not exceed, but these two together would exceed it by 50 feet, would it not?
32, yes, sir.
Yeah.
It does
Would
say.
exceed it.
I'm sorry. It does say that variance from the sign ordinance can be done with terms and conditions as well. So you could put terms and conditions on the granting of the variance.
And then, it's a LED that you're wanting to do? Do we have any provisions in our sign ordinance for LED signs?
It cannot be flashing or animated in such a way as to distract drivers. It has to either be a slow scroll or have 5 to 7
And
seconds.
that's what you're proposing?
I'm sorry.
It has to either be a slow scroll, have 5 to 7 seconds between face changes.
Between changes. No, it will not exceed that.
That's what you are, you
Yes.
would be within that
Yes, sir.
limitation?
Okay. Other comments or questions?
Sir, what are the, well, I know this may be an
Yes,
odd
yes,
question.
Kathy.
And I apologize, but what are the extenuating circumstances? I mean, you're a pest control business. It's not people are going to be driving by and suddenly realize they have a bug problem and are going to call you.
Sure.
Or am I wrong?
I think you're wrong as far as
That's
advertising.
what If I have a bug problem,
And
I
we've
know I
got
have
a
a bug
1-800
problem.
got bugs too, so that's kind of, we feel like that's catchy more than someone turning around, let me catch that number, so. And I will say too, Kathy, if y'all had seen the sign before, they didn't really take good care of that. It was
I
broken,
understand.
hanging, mold.
I understand.
Yeah, I
No,
wa-
we-
I wanted to
will-
say, however this goes, y'all are doing a great job.
There's no doubt.
Yeah,
The
and-
sign, look, the new sign
Sure,
looks gorgeous.
and
I feel like this is part of my fault because the sign was actually at a point where it was dangerous. It was whipping in the wind and they did not notice it when we first went down there. That's why I suggested to them, instead of doing this huge gaudy LED across there, is to refurbish that sign. So we went in there, we restored the whole thing from top to bottom, rewired it, welded it, made it safe, repainted it, and suggested putting something much smaller, on the bottom.
But it looks
Aesthetically, it
fabulous.
looks a
Mayor's
lot
right.
better than having a huge, sign up there like that, big LED like that.
So, what was the dimension of the proposed sign again? 3 by 8?
It's a 4x8.
4x8.
And why was that size picked?
Uh,
That means
In
4
in
feet tall
proportion.
and 8 feet.
Yeah, because in ratio to the large sign above it, it's going to look awfully small.
You made it smaller than that?
Yes. Yeah, if you shrink it down, you
And
wouldn't really be
the whole idea is
noticeable.
to scroll some sort of message across it?
Yes, or stay within the ordinance. There may be something changing, but it won't be like flashing or.
Right. The only time it'll flash is if you have an Amber Alert or if the city of Springdale puts out an emergency broadcast from the police
Is
department.
it two-sided?
Yes, sir.
You're wanting to scroll on both, you're wanting to scroll
Yes, sir.
north and south, basically?
Yes, sir.
And does that make a difference on square foot? Doesn't matter if it's two-sided?
Yeah, it's basically what it is just a panel on each side, a thin panel. And then they just build basically a skin around it, just a little cabinet skin around it, so.
So another question, was there any consideration on incorporating that type of sign into this larger sign?
We would have had to totally redo that. We'd have had to take it down. Because the other sign is made out of stretched vinyl, not even remotely the same type of material or anything. We would have had to take the whole thing down and start from scratch.
Brian's point then, that was what I was asking.
Yes.
So when you had to completely redo the sign and put the new, they call it canvas, the new sign up, could it not have been rewired then? And then the smaller digital sign be placed in the larger sign? I don't know enough about these
It
things,
would
by
have
the
been
way.
It would have been too small for that size. If we'd have did that, we'd have taken them in the direction of using the whole old sign as far as digital goes. It would have been a huge
Yeah,
digital.
Because of the way the panels ran up in there.
yeah, I can see that.
So,
And for the city aesthetically, I didn't think that would have looked very well, so.
so Ernest, does a variance run with the land, or is it just given to the applicants? So in other words, if someone else purchased this property later and wanted to change the sign, do they still have the variance, or do they have to come back?
That's a condition you could put on the variance if you wanted to. It's only to them. The changes. Oh, hands, it's got to go back.
Yeah.
I always understood the variance was for the existing property owner, and once it's, the property is sold, then it's, they'd have to come in and apply.
Sign ordinance though, so
but we do that with
Would you be
zoning.
okay with making that condition, Mike?
Sure, not a problem.
You're
Not a
both
problem
okay
at
with
all.
that? So
Yeah.
you
Got an
amend-
amended motion and second to include that
That
condition.
would be
That it would-
specified that that's to this
Are
particular
you the
owner.
property owner?
No.
No, you're a renter.
He's the manager.
manager,
But who's the property owner, though?
Bob Rice.
I mean, the company you work for?
Fairway Lawns, Command Post Control.
Oh, okay, yeah, okay.
So,
So that's who the applicant is, really?
Yes.
Yeah, and that can be added in the variance, like you say, that somebody else couldn't come in there and try
No.
to change anything. We did something similar in Fort Smith. I'll give you an example. Instead of, their situation was height. And so we redid a sign there also, and they let us do it, but nobody else can come. Once that
Yeah,
property
I feel more
sells, they can't
comfortable
come
if
back
we
at,
could keep
yeah.
that restriction on there. and
Yeah.
you're
Yeah, we
okay
couldn't
with
even
that?
hang another sign there. They actually would have to shorten the height of it, so they had added that in there, so after that sign's done, nobody else can come behind them and use it and redo it. It has to be shortened.
Is there anyone in the audience that's here to speak on this issue or would like to speak? Okay. Council, any other, is everyone clear on the motion?
We don't have to vote on the amendment, do we?
I think they amended the
that
motion.
amended
Yeah,
the motion to state that.
to include that. Anyone else? Okay, Denise?
Williams,
Yes.
Watson,
Yes.
Overton.
Yes.
Fulfer,
Yes.
Evans, Powell,
Yes.
Jaycox.
No.
Carries 6-1.
Okay, thanks, guys.
Okay, thank you,
Appreciate it.
appreciate it.
Thanks. All right, that takes us to item 10, and Patsy's on her way, our Planning Commission report and recommendations, and our Director of Planning and Community Development.
The first item is a rezoning request for 1.29 acres located at 2300 Turner Street. The request is to rezone the property from C2 to C5. The Planning Commission recommends approval of that rezoning request. The title of the ordinance reads, "An ordinance amending ordinance number 3307, the same being the zoning ordinance of the City of Springdale, Arkansas, and the plat pertaining thereto, by rezoning certain lands from General Commercial District C2 to Thoroughfare Commercial District C5 and declaring an emergency."
Move the ordinance pass.
Okay, we have a motion and a second to approve the ordinance. Questions or comments, council?
Where is it?
I'm trying to get oriented. Where is the?
Turner Street.
Where's the cross street?
It's just to the north.
Ashley, can you go to the aerial, the next one?
There
Now,
we go.
can you see where that is? Does that help?
Let's see, there's Turner.
Yeah.
I see Turner, I can't figure out a cross street to it.
Well, you got 412 to the north of it.
North of Neil's place up there, Mike.
It's what?
Yeah,
North of Neil's place.
Neil
Place, Neil
Hefner's.
Hefner's place.
Yeah,
That's his
Oh.
two buildings there.
Oh,
yeah. It's
okay.
just north of his property right there. Dimes Meat Market is just to the north of it.
Yeah,
And
okay.
there's a car dealership there.
There's a car dealership there?
No,
Oh,
on the repair shop next door to that.
Oh.
Yeah.
they want to put a car dealership there?
No, no. They're not rezoning it for that. They're rezoning it to a C5. Car dealership's only going to C6.
Only going what, C6?
Yes.
What goes in C5?
Places that have venues for entertainment facilities, if they want to drive in like with a restaurant, those kind of things, commercial activities, trades and services, those kind of things. Do you want the specific list? Because I'll have to look it up. I didn't bring my iPad with me, but Ernest is getting to it.
Is there a use unit that they're,
Well, any use unit that's allowed in there is allowed in there. The venue that they want to use is a use unit, is it 18, 16? I'll have to get my,
16 offices, studios, related services.
nope, the one that has entertainment facilities.
18
18.
hotel, motel, entertainment
Right,
facilities are permitted uses.
Right. Those are permitted use, all of those things are permitted uses in those zones.
Was there any opposition?
I don't believe so. I don't think there was any opposition to it.
Is there anyone here tonight to speak to this particular piece of property?
Owners are here.
Property owners
If
here,
you
but
look, the area around it is industrial or commercial. There are some residences across the street, but the area on the west side of Turner Street is all commercial or industrial activities. This building itself sits quite a ways off the road. It's got a long driveway.
So what's our land use map say?
It shows commercial and/or industrial use for this area.
And then how far do we plan on taking that up Turner, or down Turner?
I don't think it goes any further than that next property to the next two properties to the south of that. From there on, it becomes higher density residential and single-family residential as you get further onto the south where the subdivisions are. That right behind it is an electric substation too, by the way.
Right. Did we get a motion in a second? Any other comments or questions? Okay, Denise?
Watson,
Yes.
Overton,
Yes.
Fulfer,
Yes.
Evans, Powell,
Yes.
Jaycox.
Yes.
Williams.
Yes.
Move the emergency clause pass.
Overton,
Yes.
Fulfer,
Yes.
Evans, Powell, Jaycox, Williams.
Yes.
Watson.
Yes.
Both the ordinance emergency clause carry 7-0.
Again, these have emergency clauses because there's pending action on each one of these pieces of property. The next one is a request to rezone property located on Don Tyson Parkway, 10.6 acres, property owned by the city. The request is to rezone the property from MF4 to P1. Planning Commission recommends approval of the rezoning request. The title of the ordinance reads, an ordinance amending ordinance number 3307, the same being the zoning ordinance of the city of Springdale, Arkansas, and the plat pertaining thereto, by rezoning certain lands from low, medium, multifamily residential district MF4 to institutional district P1 and declaring an emergency.
Second.
Okay. Any questions or comments? This will be the side of the animal shelter,
Correct.
right? Anyone? Okay, Denise?
Fulfer,
Yes.
Evans, Powell.
Yes.
Jaycox.
Yes.
Williams.
Yes.
Watson,
Yes.
Overton,
Yes.
Second.
Evans, Powell.
Yes.
Jaycox.
Yes.
Williams.
Yes.
Watson,
Yes.
Overton,
Yes.
Fulfer.
Yes.
Both the ordinance emergency clause carry 7-0.
The next item is a rezoning request for .97 acres located at 8980 West Miller Road. The request is to rezone this property from Agricultural District A1 to Low-Density Single-Family Residential District SF1. This is a property that was recently annexed into the city as one of those island annexations. The property owner is requesting to rezone it to SF1. Title of the ordinance reads, an ordinance amending ordinance number 3307, the same being the zoning ordinance of the city of Springdale, Arkansas, and the plat pertaining thereto, by rezoning certain lands from Agricultural District A1 to Low-Density Single-Family Residential District SF1 and declaring an emergency.
Ordinance pass.
Okay, we have a motion and a second to approve the ordinance. Other comments or questions? Council?
One. How many acres are we talking about, Patsy?
Less than an acre, .97.
Get a little better idea there.
Yeah.
Oh.
It was
okay.
just an island that was left out, not part of that subdivision, just was annexed in as an island.
Thank you.
Anyone in the audience? Okay. Denise?
Powell,
Yes.
Jaycox. Williams.
Yes.
Watson,
Yes.
Overton.
Yes.
Fulfer.
Yes.
Evans,
Second.
Jaycox.
Yes.
Williams.
Yes.
Watson,
Yes.
Overton.
Yes.
Fulfer. Evans, Powell.
Both the ordinance emergency clause carry 7-0.
The next request is to rezone .34 acres located at 815 Mill Street. The request is to rezone the property from low, medium density, single-family residential
skip
district.
one?
Did I
Yeah, we
skip
skipped one, Patsy.
What'd I skip?
South 48.
772
South 48th Street.
Yep. I did the same thing you did.
A1
Okay.
to C2.
I don't have it. .772 South. Well, Ernest, can you read the ordinance for me? Because I don't have the file either.
This is an ordinance amending ordinance number 3307, the same being the zoning ordinance of the city of Springdale, Arkansas, and the plat pertaining thereto, by rezoning certain lands from agricultural district A1 to general commercial district C2 and declaring an emergency.
Second.
Okay, we have a motion and a second.
Yeah.
Comments or
Sorry, I missed
questions?
one.
Not sure Patsy's going to be any good if you got
That-
questions.
Now, I can tell you about the piece of property. I wasn't in the office today, so
Okay.
I walked into what was here and we missed one. This property is located just north of where the Cracker Barrel, the state police headquarters is, that piece of property there. It goes on back to the back, and they want to rezone it to C2. I know which piece of property it is. I just don't have the file with me.
The motorcycle shop.
Yes,
Right across from the new tire store.
right.
Right.
Is it the whole area or the
No, it's the entire track they want to rezone.
entire track?
Now, this map's
That's
different.
not the right map
Right.
up there.
I got different.
Huh?
Okay.
So just this rectangle is the 10 acres, isn't it?
The map in the packet just shows the
Okay, you're right.
front part.
It is just the front part. I asked them not to
Front.
rezone the back portion until we had a little bit better idea of what kind of buffer they could do to those
Is it that-
residences that are in there.
Is it
It's
that
that
dark
long,
line?
narrow strip. See that black line that comes
Yeah,
around there?
that black line?
Right
Okay.
there, uh-huh.
Okay.
So
And they'll come back with the other if we determine how they're going to access it, that kind of stuff.
I may be stealing Mr. Watson's thunder here. On the ordinance, it's got two separate parcel numbers listed.
Because the county shows two separate parcels, we never did show it.
For the front part, there's two parcels?
Yes.
Oh, okay.
See, there's a little narrow strip right there between which it's really confusing, and that's part of the reason why we pulled it back until we could figure out. If you've been out in that area, it's been divided and reparceled 2 or 3 times, and it's really confusing as to what's going on out there, that piece of property.
Can we get a motion in a second? Any other questions or comments? The audience? Yes, sir. Come on up. Come on up to the microphone so we can
Okay.
get you.
Ryan with CEI representing the applicant here. Just want to verify that the rezone request is for the area shown in the yellow portion there.
I thought you pulled it back to just that 10 acres that's along the front up there.
No, ma'am, that entirety right there is
Okay.
10 acres.
We're going to have to check the legal description because I think we had a discrepancy in the two.
What now?
So he's saying the whole thing that's outlined there is what
Yeah,
they're,
but I think the legal description that's on here only covers the area that's
the
shown.
10 acres.
Oh, it shows
Now, the
15
legal
acres.
description in the ordinance shows a 5.5 acre tract and a 10.2 acre tract.
That would be both.
Okay, maybe that's why I don't have the files, because we have a confusion on this one. Can we table this for 2 weeks till we get this straightened out? Okay.
Yeah, we
Let's
want
just
to
table that for 2 weeks and figure out what happens.
see what the
then.
planning commission
I'm sorry?
sent to us. I mean, what did they see?
Yeah, how did they approve
We
it?
saw this to start with.
Okay.
When we go through back and go through the ordinance to make sure we have the right legal, it gets sent to Clayton, and we have to verify it through that way to make sure that it closes and all that kind of stuff.
So as long as the planning commission did it the way that he intends for us to do, then
Right. We
it can
will
come
have-
straight back to us.
Right, we will have a
Okay.
planning commission next Tuesday night if we have a discrepancy. We'll get that straightened out next Tuesday
That
night.
work for you? Okay.
Yeah.
Good, okay.
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 You need to make a motion to table?
Yeah, probably
Motion to
be a good idea to have a motion to table.
Motion to table?
Yeah, Rick made a motion to table.
Second.
Okay. All right. Table to the next meeting.
Yes.
Watson,
Yes.
Overton,
Yes.
Wolfer,
Yes.
Evans.
Yes, ma'am.
Howe,
Yes.
Jaycox.
7-0.
All right.
Okay, we'll figure out what the issue is on that one. Okay. Okay, back to the one I was talking about before, which is the .34 acres on 815 Mill Street requesting to rezone to SF2, from SF2 to MF12. This single-family dwelling was not included in the PUD when it originally came in. They have since bought that piece of property. Instead of trying to go through and amending it and putting it into the PUD itself, it is being requested to rezone to MF12, which is the same density as the rest of it. It will be the same owner. It'll be part of the same project. It's just simpler to do it this way than it is to go back and add it to the PUD itself. Planning Commission recommends approval. Title of the ordinance reads, an ordinance amending ordinance number 3307, the same being the zoning ordinance of the city of Springdale, Arkansas, and the plat pertaining thereto by rezoning certain lands from low, medium density, single-family residential district SF2 to medium density, multifamily residential district MF12 and declaring an emergency.
Second?
Okay, we have a motion and a second. So this will not be part of the PUD?
Not as far as the document itself, but is owned by the same owner, and it will have the same restrictions on it
Okay.
that the rest of it has.
Okay.
So the exact same PUD restrictions
Yes,
are reflected in this PUD
yes.
to mirror the other one? Okay.
But this one will just be a covenant that's on the property itself, not part of the
I
PUD
was going to say,
document.
how are we putting restrictions on it?
Well, if
All we're
it's-
doing is rezoning it.
That's all.
Well, the size of the property is not going to allow anything bigger with an MF12 on it. I mean, we're doing a 3/4 of an acre of property to put one building on it, and if they come back with another amendment to their PUD to make a couple of changes, which we're talking about having to clear that up, we could go back and add it to that at the same time. This lets them go ahead and move forward with it now without having to go through all that process of amending the PUD document and all that. It really is, it's Mr. Embott, his son's sitting here. We were just trying to get this one moved on through as quickly as we could, and then we'll go back and make some changes. We just talked the other day about the need for one more amendment, more than likely. We're not sure. Yeah, one more, yeah. And so when we get to that point, we can go back and clear it up and put it in at that time, too. If you've been out there, the project looks really good.
Yeah, it does.
And it's moving forward. People are moving in. It's a great place to live. They've got another section they're just getting ready to open up. And this was just one little piece that wasn't part of the original that they purchased, and now they've done that, and we're adding it to it.
Okay, we have a
Is that a-
motion and a second.
I just said, I don't think anybody has a problem. I just want to make sure,
Yeah.
I think that others here want to make sure that
Yeah.
the one PUD.
We're
I
not
don't-
putting any restrictions on it. I don't.
Well, that's the reason why I'm
not
trying to
sure I
figure
follow
this
that.
out, so that,
Well,
exactly what you're saying, Jeff.
It's an MF12. You're rezoning it to an MF12.
Right.
In order to move forward with it with an MF12, they have to meet those standard requirements. They
Yeah.
can do that.
Right.
They can put covenants on that piece of property themselves
Right.
that are similar to the ones in the PUD. That's
Right.
what we talked about doing. When and if we need to amend that whole PUD again, we can go back and incorporate it in, and it becomes part of the PUD at that. And it doesn't take as long to get all that done as if we just go ahead and rezone it and let them move forward with it.
But bottom line is, we're not putting any restrictions
No.
on it, other than MF12.
They're just going to handle it all administratively, and all we're doing is rezoning, that's it.
Right.
Yeah, and
I was only posing the question.
what you're saying is.
You're just trying to make sure that
we
they
already use that small-
don't let these young kids in since they're having all these geriatrics out there like me.
Hard to use
I
that
understand.
small-
Well, that was well said,
That small
Mike.
of a
Thank you.
tract, I mean, it's .34 acres. There's not a whole lot else you can do with it to rezoning it to MF12. We know what'll fit on it, that it went to MF12 to get what they needed on it, because that's the size of the lot it works.
Any other comments or questions?
Ask for any more.
Just want to hear them all. All right, Denise.
Watson,
Yes.
Overton.
Yes.
Fulfer.
Yes.
Evans. Powell.
Yes.
Jaycox.
Yes.
Williams.
Yes.
Second.
Overton.
Yes.
Fulfer. Evans.
ma'am.
Powell.
Yes.
Jaycox.
Yes.
Williams.
Yes.
Watson.
Yes.
Both the ordinance emergency clause carry 7-0.
All right.
Okay, the last one is a resolution approving a conditional use for Michael and Andrea Guidry at 9374 Greenbrier Estate Road, set forth in ordinance number 4030. They're requesting a use unit 50, which is an agricultural occupation in an A1 district. The difference between an A1, an agricultural occupation, and a standard home occupation is that you can have it in a separate building. If it was a home occupation in a standard SF1 zone or SF2, it would have to be in the same building. This is an area that was subdivided before it came into the city. It is still zoned A1. They have a separate building they want to operate a craft building, craft business in. They don't have anybody coming to it. They prepare their materials, they take them to shows and that kind of stuff. Meets all the definitions of what a use unit 50 would be, which is agricultural occupation. Planning Commission recommends approval of this conditional use with the following conditions. Proposed residential structure and/or accessory structure contained on a recognized non-conforming A1 zone or parcel, which it already is. No outside storage of materials required for the operation of the business. Operated only by the resident members of the household and shall not have any employees, concessionaires, or any other form of operator or helper, whether such business is conducted on the premises or off the premises. Requires the use of an area no greater than 30% of the total heated living space of the residential structure or an accessory structure, an area no greater than the size of the residential structure. generates no traffic, parking, and sewage or water use in excess of what is normal for agricultural use, will not produce any fumes, odors, noise, or any other offensive effects that are not normal to agricultural activity. Stock and trade shall not exceed 10% of the floor area of the accessory use, will not require or cause the consumption on the premises of any food production thereon, will not provide medical treatment, therapeutic massage, or similar activities, no alteration of the outside appearance of the residential and/or accessory structure, or provision of a separate outside entrance for the business areas of the residential structures.
So how are the neighbors notified of the public hearing?
Certified mail to all the adjoining, all the way around, return receipt requested.
And was there any opposition?
I don't believe so. It's a pretty quiet operation. If you didn't
Yeah.
know it was there, you probably wouldn't be
Building
able to
looks
see it.
good. They
Yeah.
take good care of it.
Yeah.
They need a business license. They need a tax ID number. That's why they're coming in to get a home occupation.
Second.
We have a motion and a second. Any further comments or questions? Anyone in the audience? Okay, Denise?
Wolfer?
Yes.
Evans? Powell?
Yes.
Jaycox?
Yes.
Williams?
Yes.
Watson?
Yes.
Overton?
Yes.
Okay, we'll move on to item 11, Technology Committee. Yes, we have one. Reports and recommendations, and the chairman is Colby Fulfer. Colby?
We unrolled the scrolls and blew the dust off of the Technology Committee. We met on the 18th to discuss moving forward a resolution which would read, a resolution authorizing the mayor and the city clerk to enter into a dark fiber exchange agreement with Ozarks Go LLC. We had some conversation about it, and I think we needed some clarification on the contract possibly, but this is an opportunity for the city and Ozarks Go to work together on some dark fiber that we have that's not being used, and it would be beneficial to the city. And we move this forward with the recommendation to the council.
Second.
Motion and a second. Further questions or comments, Ernest? We had the one question that I think we satisfied at the meeting, pretty much.
Ozarks goes here, he's giving me a thumbs up.
Yeah, so we're good on the, if something happens, yeah, okay.
So it does call for Ozarks Go to do the repairs.
Well,
On-
Mark may want to,
Yeah, Mark, give us a little, because I think we got a little, I think the conversation got a little confusing. It did for me.
Good evening, council. Maintenance is really outside the scope of this. Our responsibility is to maintain our fiber, and Ozark Go maintains their fiber. And in the event of a breach or an incident, we'd still be responsible for our fiber, and we have the ability to choose whatever contractor we decide. And I believe that's in the best interest of the city.
So I thought we were talking about if there was a line break. They were going to come out and repair it. I mean, all those fibers more than likely are going to break in that pair. And I thought what we talked about was that Ozarks would repair all the fibers.
that's theirs.
That's just theirs, or did we talked about it the whole run?
Ours,
I believe the representative said if they had to go in and do repairs, they would repair.
They would
ours
repair it
while
all.
they're there.
yeah, if it's part of the, yeah, if, well,
Bundle?
The whole thing breaks, they're gonna fix it.
right, or if it's the part that they're on our dark fiber, because we're both lessors and lessees in this lease.
Right.
We're leasing from them and they're leasing from us. It's just an exchange. So I think what Mark said, if I understood him correctly, is we're responsible for maintaining our fiber, they're responsible for maintaining their fiber.
And
That's
it's in
correct.
And it's in the best interest of both parties that if something happens to the fiber, to make sure it gets fixed.
That's correct.
Quickly.
But I think what the gentleman that came and spoke said, he didn't believe we had the ability to fix that. I may be misunderstanding, but I thought he said we don't have.
I think
the
that was his
capability.
concern. I think you're right. But we would contract to get, if we had just like we do anywhere else, if we've got an issue with fiber that we don't have the ability to fix, then we contract with someone to get it fixed.
That's correct, Mayor.
I'm not as clear on that, because I thought that what it was discussed was that Ozarks didn't have a problem, that they would, if that pair is broke, and there's several fibers in there, that while they were there, they were gonna repair all those pairs. That was the understanding I was.
Would you mind
That-
explaining that further to us?
So obviously it's going to be in our best interest to repair it.
Right, please.
So what would happen is if you look in the agreement there, it's going to be, we're going to work together in those cases, right? That's what it says in that, is that you are, in a sense, maintain your fiber that you have. But in the case of something that happens, you work with each other. Like let's say he said the guy, I think his name Jay, was worried about the ability to get it up, and it may take them a week. Well, that's when in that agreement you give us a call, because we'll get it up in a day, because we have people everywhere. But we don't want to take that fact that that's your fiber, and it's your fiber, right? So that's why you maintain it. We're going to be there because, in a sense, in that agreement, it just says we're going to work together in the best interest of each other to get those back up and going. And so if you find a break, you can contract with whoever you want, but if it's affecting our fiber, we're going to ask if we can get in there and splice it back. All right, I mean, that's just what we're going to do.
As it is right now, we have to maintain our fiber.
Yes.
Right?
Right.
So we would pay them.
This is something that benefits both of us, and we'll continue to maintain our fiber, and they will maintain theirs, but we've got, and I don't know how often something,
I mean,
we may be.
You
Yeah.
it would have to be pretty bad. I mean, I don't know how many times you've had to splice, but he told me when we were out talking the other day, he's like, I can't even tell you the last time if I even know how to splice it again. So that just tells you how long it's been since he's done it. You shouldn't have to do that stuff very often, but unless if something was cut or tornado came through, tore it down, but then we would be repairing that whole line, right? And that's other things where we'd work together on getting that up as fast as
So
possible.
when we say that, would we be contracting Ozarks?
Well, it'd be, yeah, I mean, you could.
Makes sense.
Yeah, I mean, you can go whoever you want, but I think in our interest, we were going to get out there and work in the best interest of both parties to make sure that we're up and running.
Bill the city for any of those repairs if you happen to, if there was a break?
Yeah, so if you look in that agreement, it actually says that if there's something that happens on your fiber or on our fiber, for example, and one of us, the other party fixes it, it's an equal proportion to whoever's fiber it is, right? So you can bill it back out to what it is. So if it happens on your fiber and it breaks, and then we get in there and you say, hey, you repair it, then we can bill you.
An agreed upon price before?
I mean, we could talk about that before. I mean, I don't know if we would even, personally, I don't know if we'd really pass that.
I'm just asking, Mark?
I mean, that's why it's in the city's best interest to be able to contract the work. It may be Ozark Go that could fix it. It could be another contractor. But at the end of the day, it's our fiber to repair.
I understand.
So we'll have that ability to decide who repairs it.
And we'd be able to quote out, I mean, right away what it would be. We could give some flat numbers.
I don't know how the contracts work with this kind of repair. I was just asking if there is a break and your company goes in and fixes it and we're part of the repair, is there a cost incurred and is there a per hour charge? Is it a per wire charge?
No, I get it.
That's what I was asking.
Yeah.
And as long as it's agreed upon. Sorry, Doug, didn't mean to confuse it.
No, I want to clear
We're
it
looking
up.
like
I
moving
definitely
on.
want to be clear
No,
and
that's
make
okay.
sure. I would very seriously doubt.
But if it's damaged from an outside entity, that maybe they didn't do a one call and they hit it, I mean, they're going to be billed.
Yeah, we're going to be
They're
going
gonna
after
pay for
them.
it.
That's
Right.
correct.
And these usually don't just
Well,
They're not just sitting there and break. I mean, somebody breaks them.
right, yeah.
And we go
mostly-
after who breaks them. Of
And
course,
a lot
they're
of
not
this,
real- yeah.
I think all of this, and maybe all of this is aerial, so
Yeah,
you're talking,
right, so that, we're not, these are actually less likely,
Likely.
they're not gonna be hit when somebody's digging, they're not gonna be.
that's
yeah.
correct.
Any other questions? Anyone? Okay. We did get a motion in a second. It's been a while. Vote, please.
Evans? Powell?
Yes.
Jaycox?
Yes.
Williams?
Yes.
Watson?
Yes.
Overton?
Yes.
Fulfer?
7-0.
All right, thank you. Item 12, Street and CIP Committee Report and Recommendations. Chairman Rick Evans. Rick?
Last week, street CIP, idea was recommended for approval. Project and other purposes, and this is south, and this is our portion, no part of it is a grant. $997.
Resolution passed.
Second.
We have a motion, a second. Be paid out of the street bond. Any other comments or questions? Okay, Denise?
Powell?
Yes.
Jaycox?
Yes.
Williams?
Yes.
Watson?
Yes.
Overton?
Yes.
Fulfer?
Yes.
Evans?
7-0.
All right, thank you. Item 13, Police and Fire Committee Reports and Recommendations. Councilmember Amelia Williams.
Committee
Amelia?
met and considered item 13, an ordinance to waive a competitive bidding for the purchase of automated call-taking software. We forwarded it to council with recommendation for approval. Did any,
Chief Peters here?
I think it was,
Okay, Lester's
Erwin.
here. Okay.
it was fire department. It was
That's right,
Erwin.
Jimmy's here. If you have any more questions, I know that was discussed at committee, but I had to leave committee early, so I wasn't in on that, so.
The ordinance passed.
Okay, we have a motion and a second to approve the ordinance. Are there any other comments or questions? All right, Denise?
Jaycox?
Yes.
Williams?
Yes.
Watson?
Yes.
Overton?
Yes.
Fulfer?
Yes.
Evans? Powell?
Yes.
Williams?
Yes.
Watson?
Yes.
Overton?
Yes.
Fulfer? Evans? Powell?
Yes.
Jaycox?
Yes.
All right, thank you. Item 14, comments from department heads. Anyone? Council? City attorney?
No, sir.
Just one. Now, I hope y'all got it today. I think it sounded like you did. Got our sales tax numbers in, and for March, our numbers were up over 10%, so another good month. Appreciate the people of Springdale shopping in Springdale. So that's all I've got. Do we have a motion to adjourn?
So moved.
Second.
Motion is second. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
All opposed, same sign. Thank you. We're adjourned.
Foghorns.